Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the first 5 parts you should buy for your SRT4 right when you get it. And I'm making this video because it's what I would want to know if I bought an SRT4. The first SRT4 I got, I wanted to know the first 5 things I should do to it, because every single car you get, there's a couple things that you gotta do to it right when you get it, because you don't know what the other person did or how they did it or any of that stuff. So you're getting a new, or you're not going to be buying one new anymore. So you're getting a used car, and you want to know what, well, you don't know what those other people did to it. And so you just got to fix some stuff. You got to do some other stuff for yourself, and you want to make more power. We always want to make more power. So let's get right on into it. So we are making this video in the car today because it's super windy outside, for one, and there's a giant fire right next to my house, and I don't want to deal with that right now. So we're just going to get away from all that drama and keep going. I'll throw a little clip of the fire. I'll just throw a clip of the fire so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so the first thing when you buy a used SRT4 from somebody is change the fluids, because you don't know what they did, you don't know how they did it. And it could be low. I mean, I've looked at tons of SRT4s, and the people let the oil run low. They don't change the oil, for one, and it's just be careful. So that's the first thing you want to do. So make sure you check the fluids and change them. Don't just check them, just change them. And the big one, and it leads into our first talking point, is make sure you change the trans fluid out, because the original trans fluid in the SRT4, a friction modifier actually. So they put a friction modifier in the trans fluid, and it ate the synchros away. And that's why some SRT4s have really bad shifting. I know I have an orange SRT4, and they didn't change the trans fluid, and it had that friction modifier stuff in it, and it shifts horribly. It's not the transmission, they put that friction modifier and it tore up those synchros, and now it doesn't shift good. So make sure if you get one, change that trans fluid, because you don't know if it's stock trans fluid, if it's new trans fluid. Just change it. It'll help you at the end of the day. Whoa. Okay. So the first thing, change your fluids, and that's like kind of a bonus thing I wanted to say in the video. But the second thing would be, the real first thing would be short throw shifter. I think that is paramount in these cars. I think it is so important to get a short throw shifter, just because I have a short throw shifter in my black SRT4, and then I have an orange SRT4 that doesn't have a short throw shifter, and I'm almost positive it saved my transmission with the short throw shifter, because with the short throw shifter, you're not just shortening throw. That's not like the whole purpose of it. You're actually putting stops in it, so you're not stretching out that shift linkage, or you're damaging shift forks. So that short throw shifter doesn't just throw or make your throw shorter. It's actually saving your transmission by not bending shift forks, by not stretching out your shifter cables. So it's just a really good thing. I think that would be like the most important modification for your SRT4 right when you get it. I think I would do that, because the transmissions are known to be a little bit weaker than others. Not necessarily with stock power, but if you're planning on making a lot of power, you're gonna be using up the transmission, and it's better to be safe than sorry at the end of the day. It's like a $200 upgrade in modern performance for a Hirsch short throw, and you could do that and really take care of your transmission, or you could not do that, bend shift forks, break things. We don't want to do that. That's always a bad idea. So I would recommend getting a short throw shifter, because it's going to protect your transmission. We're gonna go. Breaking stuff. So, in ending that part of our TED Talk, make sure you get that short throw shifter. In my opinion, I think it is it's the biggest upgrade you can do for your car, for longevity of it, because it's going to protect your transmission to the best you can do to protect your transmission, and when you're going on the track, you can shift a little bit faster. So it's a win-win. All right, let's get into the second thing. And the second thing is I think coilovers and rims make a giant difference on SRT4s. And I think everybody agrees with me because stock ride height in the SRT4 is stink bug height. And everybody watching this knows if you have stock suspension on your SRT4, the butt is kicked up way in the back and the front is still high, but it looks like a truck or something. In my opinion, get rid of the stink bug look and get some coilovers and some rims and it'll help. But the rim part of this, you don't have to get different rims. You get a wider rim on there and then you can get a bigger tire, and then there's less wheel spin when you're going to the track or trying to race somebody, because these cars do produce a lot of torque. So you're going to be spinning the tires. It's part of the game. So a little bit of extra tire is going to help tremendously. So a bigger rim, bigger tire, there you go. And coilovers, not only is your the ride quality going to get better, but you'll be able to drop the car and get the stance that you want. And there's tons of good coilovers for these cars. You just got to go and look. I run KW suspension, or KWST, for the SRT4, and I did that because it has the best ride quality. And my black SRT is a daily driver. I drive this thing to work all the time, so I wanted something that would give me really good ride quality, and it does. It has amazing ride quality. The springs are a little bit softer than other cars, but I don't really care because my ride is great. I mean, I can rip around and go hit giant bumps and everything, and it feels great. I had lowering springs. Do not get lowering springs, because I had lowering springs and I blew out 2 of my rear shocks doing it. So do yourself a favor, get some coilovers, and it'll help tremendously. But like I said, there's tons of good ones. I have KW. I would recommend KW, but BCs are great. I think BCs would be the next one that I would buy. They have different versions of the BC for the SRT4, but I think the BC is a great coilover as well. I think it's a little bit more performance oriented, and if that's what you want, definitely go for it, because I think it's a great, I've said great like 20 times now, but I think it's a really good coilover that you should consider if you're getting the SRT4. I'm sure you'll make your SRT4 look really good doing that. Oh, and if I'm just going to throw this in there, there's a giant forum on the SRT forums that goes over, it's a tire tech thread, and it tells you exactly what you can go to. I'll link it in the description, but it tells you exactly what wheel you can use, or size wheel, offset, and tire size. It goes in really in depth into it. It's definitely extremely helpful for if you want to know if you're going to rub or not, or any of that kind of stuff, and what works, what doesn't work, and I'll link it. So look at that, it'll help. Ow, stop wiggling. All right, so number 3. So we're going to start like diving into horsepower and performance. So first thing is a cold air intake. I know that's been said about 1,000 times, but cold air intake works really well on the cars. It'll help it breathe. You need that turbo to suck as much air as you can, and a cold air intake is going to help tremendously over that stock air box. I mean, nowadays you're probably not going to find an SRT4 without a cold air intake on it already, but I don't know if there's not. I would get one, and I get a full length one that goes into the fender well, just because you're going to be grabbing some colder air, because that engine bay gets really hot with this turbo and everything going on in there. So that would be the third thing, is definitely get a cold air intake. And the fourth thing leads right into it. They work in harmony together, and that would be an exhaust. If you're going to do cold air intake, you should definitely do the exhaust so they can work together in unison, because the better air you're getting, the more exhaust you're going to want to be pushing out. And 3-inch exhaust on SRT4 has been known to make tremendous power, or really good power, and that would be something I would recommend. We all love the pops and crackles of SRT4, man! And the 5th thing that I think you should buy right when you get an SRT4 is a Diablo Sport tuner. Diablo Sport is readily available, and it's easy, and it makes more power. So I have a Mopar Stage 1 ECU on my black SRT4, and I have a Diablo Sport on the orange SRT4. And so I did a test comparison taking it to the drag strip. I'll link the video so you can watch it. I have 2 videos, one with the black one and then one with the orange one. And the Diablo Sport is in fact a 1/10 of a second faster in the 1,000 feet than the Mopar Stage 1.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So there's that, but it's because the Diablo Sport is giving you more boost than the Mopar Stage 1. But the Diablo drops boost faster, so then it gets into wastegates and different things like that. But I would choose the Diablo over just getting a Mopar Stage 1, and that's because the Diablo has more tuning capabilities than the Stage 1. So with the Diablo, you can do E85, you can do all these things. It's supported by a lot of tuners, and they can actually remotely tune you. It's just, I think the Diablo's better, and there's different kinds. I run an Intune i3 Platinum on my orange SRT4, but the Trinity, the Diablo Sport Trinity is the bomb. If you have the money to get that thing, totally get it. You'll be happy because it has everything. It has a whole gauge cluster on it. It's so cool. But I definitely recommend getting a Diablo Sport because there's so many tuning advantages and capabilities. And if you get cold air and if you get the exhaust, you can make it work together better with the Diablo Sport. That tune makes a giant difference. Once you do it on these cars, you'll never go back. It's just a good thing to have. If that's the fit thing, I would get that. Get the tuner because you'll use it in the future if you're going to make a ton of power. You're going to need it if you're going to do big turbo, if you're going to do something like big wheel stalker, any of that stuff. You're going to need that Diablo Sport to be able to tune it. So I think it's something that's very important that you should definitely get if you're getting an SRT4. Let's get some sauce. Those are the top 5 things I think you should get for your SRT4 right when you get it. Those are definitely tried and true. They're definitely going to make the car perform a lot better, and you get a little safety in a couple of those things I said just by protecting your transmission and stuff like that. But definitely those are the things I think you should get right when you get your SRT4. So that's going to be the end of today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more because we're building the 700 horsepower Fox body. And then once we're done with that, we're going to slap big turbo on the SRT4 and try to make 400 or 500 horsepower and hurt some people's feelings. That's the goal anyway. So that's the plans for the channel. The Fox body is getting the new engine in. I think that should be done in the next couple of weeks, so I'll be documenting all of that. So stick around if you want to see how it goes. And the goal is 700 horsepower, 9-second quarter miles. I think we can do it. It's just going to take a little bit of work, but definitely think we can do it. So again, that is the end. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you on the next video.
I know the brink's coming. Know the brink's.
There how do you say that? There is problems. I don't know. There's problems and people know that.